What's going on, guys? We're back. Welcome to Coin Toss. It's time for a new season. I'm your host, Cam McCauley, and just as we're making our glorious return over the weekend, football made its glorious return. No, not this kind of football, but NFL football. We had some amazing games week one, some really surprising upsets. Today we're going to sort through the mess, and I'm going to tell you who are contenders and pretenders that you need to know as we head into the season. Also, I'm going to show you the countdown of awesomeness, which is about as cool as it sounds, and I'm going to give you advice, some for your fantasy team. My fantasy sleeper of the week. We started off, though, with contenders and pretenders, and we'll go to Denver, where the Baltimore Ravens narrowly lost to the Denver Broncos in a very defensive kind of battle. When sorting through whether or not the Ravens are contenders, I got everything I needed to see from the Baltimore Ravens. This is a team that has a defense that is new. They were already great last year. With the return of their top cornerbacks like Jimmy Smith, they're going to be a very, very good defense this year. That, combined with an offense that, even though it lacked offensive playmakers, you don't doubt Joe Flacco in the postseason. If he can get there, the Ravens will be dangerous. So yes, they are a contender. Sticking in the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals, a lot of people have them as contenders after absolutely destroying the Oakland Raiders in Oakland. I'm not so sure. First of all, Oakland is not that tough of a team to beat, even when people are calling them a chance to be an improved team. I'm not sure they're that great. And Cincinnati does have a reputation for being able to win non-nationally televised games not a lot of people are watching against opponents they should beat. There is nobody, maybe with the exception of the New England Patriots, better at beating opponents they need to beat than the Cincinnati Bengals. Until I see more from them against big-time opponents, I don't think they are a legitimate contender. I don't doubt Andy Dalton, and I don't trust Marvin Lewis as the coach. In the AFC East, though, perhaps the biggest upset of the entire year might have happened in week one because the Buffalo Bills were in the third quarter up 24-0 on the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck. They wound up winning by an impressive score of 27-14, and this was a team that looked really nice. We knew what the defense could do coming in, but the question was, what was the offense going to look like? And with Tyrod Taylor at starting quarterback, those questions got magnified. But Taylor came out, had a fantastic day. He looked like a great, not only a starting NFL quarterback, but a very good NFL quarterback. Even if LaShawn McCoy didn't have the best debut, his receivers and his defense picked up the slack. If Taylor can be consistent, he can lead this Bills team to a Super Bowl. That's how good they are if Taylor can be good as a starter. That's their only weakness, really, at quarterback. Consistency is the issue, but yes, the Bills are contenders. And if I'm in New England, I'd be worried. Very worried about Buffalo. In the NFC, Arizona, maybe not a game highly watched. Arizona was able to beat New Orleans, a game they should win. You cannot count out Bruce Arians, and Carson Palmer looked really good as the quarterback. I just don't see the talent that others seem to see in this Cardinals team, especially with Andre Ellington being out. They don't have a per se run game. John Brown's a good rookie, or not rookie. John Brown is a good second-year man to watch. Larry Fitzgerald, however, is getting older. They still have issues at tight end. Honestly, I don't think the Cardinals are a legitimate contender. Also in the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys very, very nearly squeaked out a win against the New York Giants on the heroics of Tony Romo. So much for the clutch myth that's probably been dispelled over, 10 times over the past couple of years. Dez Bryant is going to be out, and the Cowboys looked anything but impressive in their opening day game. But this is still a team that can be a contender. When your quarterback can fumble a snap, pick it up, and throw a touchdown, that should be a signification of how good your offensive line is. And this Cowboys line is by far the best in the NFL. Romo, if he can stay healthy, means this team will be a Super Bowl contender. Depending on how Dez looks when he comes back, this is going to be a team that could very well win a Super Bowl. Definitely be excited in Dallas. Also, the Rams. The St. Louis Rams pulled off a big upset in overtime over the Seattle Seahawks in the Edward Jones Dome. Yes, they did beat them last year. And yes, this is what we say about every Rams team. They've got a great defense, issues at quarterback and on the offense. But this year it looked different. No, they weren't beating Seattle in 10-7 games. They beat them in a 34-31 shootout, if you could call it that. Nick Foles looked really nice under the helm of the offense, and it just seems to have a different vibe to it. Yes, I think the Rams are the sleeper contender of the NFL. They could easily get hot in the postseason and march their way all the way to a Super Bowl. Whether they win or not sure. Now, not so great stuff happening in the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles, a lot of people had them as a sleeper contender. I said they weren't, and I think I was backed up on that claim by their performance against the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, their defense is capable of making spectacular plays, but at the same time, I don't think they're ready to win in this year with Sam Bradford in his first year. I don't think they are contenders. Same goes for the Chiefs. They are a great team that has a good running game, a very nice target in Travis Kelce, and a very solid defense. But the issues at wide receiver are prominent, and Alex Smith is not one for throwing down the field. If you can key on that, you can beat this Chiefs team. I don't have them listed as contenders. The Steelers in the NFC North, they were very well pretty much handled by the New England Patriots, but there were signs of promise. This was a team that was without its starting running back and number 2 receiver. Ben Roethlisberger looked good. Antonio Brown looked good. But the defense had issues covering Gronk all night long. If Pittsburgh, their offense is going to be great, going to be one of the best in the league. If the defense can step it up, they're a contender. If it can't, they're probably not. I'm calling a push on this one. I don't really know, and it could go either way. Same goes for the Denver Broncos. This is a team that I saw had all the pieces to make a Super Bowl run. But Peyton Manning, how good can he be? If he can be 75% of his normal self, then he really can guide this Broncos team to a Super Bowl. And honestly, if Peyton can be 75% of himself, they should be AFC favorites. If he can't be, well, this is his best bet. This team is stacked on defense, and they showed it. They were aggressive, and they were making a lot of big plays and turnovers. The offense, teams can key on Peyton Manning now because he doesn't have that arm strength. If he can regain it, then I think that this will be a very, very dangerous team. If not, I don't know if they can legitimately win a Super Bowl. I'm calling a push on the Broncos too, but let me know what you think about our contenders and pretenders. We move on to the countdown of awesomeness. These are the 3 best plays that were happening in the NFL Week 1. We start off the end of the Broncos-Ravens game. Broncos hold a 6-point lead, but Joe Flacco is marching down the field. It is shades of 2012. Flacco lofts it off to the end zone and is tight end. But Darian Stewart, signed over from Broncos in free agency, impersonates his Dikembe Mutombo. No, not today, Baltimore, not again. Rips the ball out of John Crockett's hands. Unbelievable interception, ends the game. Phenomenal play by Darian Stewart in high moment situation. That is the most clutch play of the week. Number 2, we go over to Washington and Miami. More from this game in a little bit. Bryce McCain. I didn't know who he was. You probably didn't know who he was. He is a cornerback for the Miami Dolphins, and he makes an absolutely spectacular interception. Reaches up, grabs the ball, maybe doesn't catch it fully, but he gets it back while he's on the ground. It is a clear interception, definitely the best pick of the day. And at number 1, Brian Hartline. Not a guy known for big plays, and he's a Cleveland Brown, which is the double whammy against the countdown of awesomeness. But on his knees, he takes this pass from Johnny Manziel, reaches it out, and snags it out of thin air. From his knees, reaching back all the way. Unbelievable catch by Brian Hartline. And even though Cleveland will go on to get obliterated, Hartline had done all the things he needed to earn the number 1 spot in our countdown of awesomeness. However, there is also a -1 spot for the worst play of the week, and for that we go back to Miami because, well, I don't even know how to describe this. Ryan Tannehill dropped back in the pocket, gets sacked, the ball comes out, Miami offensive lineman's going to recover it, right? No, he won't, but there's another one to recover it. No, he won't either. And Washington eventually pounces on the football after the ball is rolled a good 35 yards back. Unbelievable play. The incredible butterfingers by Miami's offensive linemen, and this was just an all-around terrible play. Also, the Josh McCown play, not so great either, but that led us to Johnny Manziel, which meant it provided some good in the countdown of awesomeness. We're going to end off with fantasy football. So big. I'm going to give you guys a guy who I think is the sleeper of the week. There were a lot of great tight ends. Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, Tyler Eifert. Jordan Cameron of the Miami Dolphins was a new guy in his system, and he was the most targeted man on his team, the Miami Dolphins. 73 yards on 4 receptions for 11 points. But that was also against a relatively stingy Washington defense. Today, he's going to be at Jacksonville next week. That's a big-time matchup for someone like Jordan Cameron. I think he's going to be really good. You can get him on the cheap, either in a draft or through a trade, and I think if you have him, you should play him because he's going to be a big-time player next week at Jacksonville for the Miami Dolphins. And with that, we are going to wrap up this week's episode of Coin Toss. We're going to be back bi-weekly to recap all the things happening in the world of sports. Until then, I'm Cam McCauley. Thanks for watching. See you later on Coin Toss.